Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Today we're holding up a bit of a psychological mirror, and honestly, it's a fascinating one. We're going to unpack a behavior that, well, pretty much all of us struggle with at some point, but we almost always mislabel it. We're talking about the perfectionist's veil and the incredibly complex psychology of hiding behind your own potential. So, if you've ever completely beaten yourself up for what you just assumed was sheer laziness or, a total lack of discipline, you might actually be looking at a brilliantly clever psychological defense mechanism. Let's get into it.
Let me ask you a very direct question. Have you ever stayed in the planning phase, literally forever, because taking actual, real action just feels a little too risky? Like, you know exactly what you want to do. You've got the color-coded spreadsheets, the beautiful, pristine notebooks. Maybe you even bought some of those fancy pens specifically for this project and haven't touched them. And the whole grand vision is meticulously mapped out. But then, when it's actually time to execute, crickets. You just freeze. It's absolutely not that you don't care. It's that the stakes suddenly feel overwhelmingly high, and you find yourself totally paralyzed.
And this brilliantly illustrates the wild disconnect between perception and reality. Because what others see, and let's be honest, often what you see in the mirror, is just plain old procrastination. It totally looks like you're just putting things off or dragging your feet. But what psychology says is actually happening beneath the surface is a totally different beast. It's a phenomenon known as secret perfectionism. You're not simply avoiding the hard work, right? You are actively avoiding the flaws, the mistakes, and the intense vulnerability that come with putting real, messy work out into the world.
Let's formally define exactly what we mean here just to get a really concrete and mental handle on the concept. A secret perfectionist is someone who hides behind their potential to avoid actual judgment. It is a remarkably clever, albeit frustrating, defense mechanism. Think about it. If you only ever talk about what you could do or what you're planning to do, you get to stay in this incredibly safe, cozy bubble. It's the aspiring writer with a gorgeous but completely empty notebook, or the entrepreneur who tweaks their business plan for months but never actually launches. Nobody can critique a project that doesn't exist yet. You get to keep this awesome identity of someone with immense potential while staying completely shielded from the sting of real-world feedback.
So, how does this actually operate inside our heads? Let's take a peek behind the curtain at the psychological blueprint of this defense mechanism and figure out exactly why your brain absolutely loves endless possibilities way more than actual reality.
There are two core components to this blueprint we're going to unpack today. Step 1 is uncovering Insight 1, the hidden fear, and Step 2 is tackling Insight 2, the fear of being seen.
Okay, let's dive into this. Insight number 1, how the fear of failure actually hides securely underneath your motivation. Now, this might feel a little counterintuitive, but fear and motivation are deeply intertwined here. Listen to me on this. You do not lack ambition. If you're stuck in that endless loop of preparation, it's really not because you don't have the drive or the vision. Actually, scratch that. It's the exact opposite. You care so intensely about the outcome that staying in the planning phase acts as a giant shield, protecting your very real ambition. And that brings us to an absolutely crucial tenet of this psychology. Here it is. Because as long as you don't actually try, your dream is still perfect. Just let that sink in for a second. When it exists entirely in your head, your project has literally zero flaws. It hasn't failed, it hasn't been rejected by anyone. All that limitless potential of what it could be, it stays completely untouched by the messy, totally unpredictable reality of actual execution.
So once we recognize that huge desire to protect the dream, we naturally hit Insight 2, the intense fear of being seen clearly. You see, this isn't just about your work being evaluated, it's the downright terrifying prospect of you being judged based on the concrete reality of what you actually produced. Taking real action completely strips your excuses away. The absolute second you publish that article or launch the business or finally submit the project, bam, you are dealing with reality. You can't safely hide behind that comfortable shield of what-ifs and possibilities anymore. You're operating out in the real world now. And that cozy safety net of potential, yeah, it's completely gone.
Your brain basically starts telling you this heavy narrative. It tells you that success feels permanent, and therefore action feels permanent. Your brain convinces you that every single step absolutely must be flawless. It treats every tiny, small action like some permanent record, because in its view, this is the exact moment real judgment occurs. Honestly, it is just an overwhelming amount of pressure to place on yourself. No wonder even the simplest next step feels like climbing a mountain.
So the crucial point is that what looks like a simple failure to act is, in reality, a super complex self-protective strategy. By applying this new, paradigm-shifting lens to our behavior,
we can finally stop labeling ourselves as just lazy procrastinators. Instead, we can actually start addressing the real root issue here, the incredibly heavy burden of perfectionism. Understanding this, it literally changes everything about how we approach our own roadblocks.
If you found this breakdown valuable, please make sure to subscribe for more real psychology. Because once you start decoding these underlying patterns, human behavior, and especially your own behavior, stops being this frustrating mystery and actually starts making a whole lot more sense.
Which leads us perfectly to our final thought for today. What potential are you hiding behind right now? Really think about it. What perfect, flawless dream is keeping you safely trapped in the planning phase? Take that question with you today and just consider, what might actually happen if you finally allowed yourself to step out from behind the veil?